Lesson 9, Relating Units of Mass, is our final lesson in Unit 6 for measurement. And you will notice that we continue to use the same principles as we did earlier in the lesson, in that we're going to be converting milligrams to grams to kilograms to tons when we move from smaller units to larger units. We divide. And in this case, what we're going to use is, let's say we have 5 milligrams. Meaning 1,000, so that there's 1,000 milligrams in a gram. So I'm going to convert 5 milligrams into grams, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 1,000. And when I do that, I move my decimal places 3 spaces, or 3 to the left, because there are 1, 2, 3 zeros in 1,000. So if I move my decimal point 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, I need to add 2 zeros. So 5 milligrams is equal to 0.005 grams. If I continue toward kilograms, I'm going to divide my smaller grams into larger kilograms. I'm going to move my decimal place 1, 2, 3 more places to the left. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to add my 3 zeros. So I actually have 0.00005 of a kilogram. I can continue to tons. And again, I will divide by 1,000. So essentially, I'm adding 3 more zeros. So I will have 0.1, 2, 3. And I already had 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth of a ton. What I'm going to ask you to do, please, is I'm going to ask you to copy this table into your notebook. So at this point, if you have not written this down, please pause the video and copy this table into your notebook. If you're with me now, you've got the table in your notebook. We can do the same thing if in reverse. If we start with 5 tons, remember when I move from a larger unit to a smaller unit, I multiply. When I do that, I'm going to move my 5 tons times 1,000. So when I multiply, I'm going to move my decimal point towards Matthew 3 places. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to fill in my zeros. So 5 tons times 1,000 gives me 5,000 kilograms. I can continue to grams and multiply by 1,000. So I'll essentially add 3 zeros, which gives me 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's actually 5 million kilograms. And if I went all the way to milligrams, I would multiply by 1,000 again in order to get 5 billion milligrams. And if we want to use single digits as opposed to my 5, and by single digits I mean if we talk about 1 milligram, whereas above I said 5 milligrams. If we talked about 1 milligram, it's equal to 0.001 of a gram. And if you notice now 0.00, if in the example above I said 5 milligrams, this should be 0.005 grams. If I check my table, that's what I've got. 1 gram equals 1,000th of a kilogram. 1 kilogram equals 1,000th of a ton, and that's good because we're dividing by 1,000. If I continue forward, I can ask you questions like sort these images into columns to show the units. So pick one of our friendly animals down here at the bottom and list for me which one would be a milligram, which one would you measure with a gram, and which one would you measure with a kilogram or a ton. So pause the video and just list me one. Okay, let's see. Our ant here would probably be in a milligram. Our rhinoceros would certainly be tons. Probably the heaviest one fellow we've got here. Cardinal I could measure in grams. An elephant I can measure in tons. Our little mite bug would be milligrams. I could measure my feline friend in grams. Our beetle would probably be milligrams. A horse, kilograms. And our friendly squirrel in grams. We can put this information into practical use. We're going to convert grams into kilograms. As you noticed before, we said that there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. When we're moving from grams to kilograms, we're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. So we're going to divide by 1,000. So if I asked you to complete the following, you can do these simply by moving from a smaller unit to a larger unit. So I'm going to be dividing, in most cases, by 1,000. If you complete these, we'll check them in class together tomorrow. So which of the following flour sacks offers the best value? Well, we've got 500 grams of flour for $3.89. We've got 1 kilogram of flour for $4, or we've got 675 grams for $5.50. If I say to myself, well, I know that in 500 grams, if I multiply it by 2, that tells me 1,000 grams, and 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. So I'd have to buy 2 small bags. So if I multiply $3.89 by 2, 2 small bags would cost me $7.78. Well, right away, if we compare $7.78 to $4, we've got the better buy in the 1 kilogram sack for $4. Now, right away, we know is 1 kilogram, compare that to 675 grams. This is 1,000 grams. We can say, well, it's still cheaper for $4 and 1,000 grams than it would be for 675. So this is a larger amount for less money. We can do the same when we move from larger units to smaller units. We're going to multiply by 1,000. You can complete these questions, and we'll take the answers up tomorrow. Which package contains the most wheat? We have 1.5 kilograms times $5.99, or we have 12 sacks that each have 100 grams. So if we have 12 sacks times 100 grams, we have 1,200 grams for $6.33. Let's compare that to 1.5 grams, which is how many, or sorry, 1.5 kilograms, which is 1,500 grams for $5.99. So again, we have a greater amount of wheat for less amount of money. This is comparing units.